What's up everybody, it's Sean here and I'm back today to give you a review of the Adidas Adifom Superstar in this cloud white colorway. Today's video is brought to you by the good people from Move Insoles. Move Insoles is one of the up-and-coming leaders in the performance insole space. Their products are designed and tested by pro athletes like Damian Lillard and Chris Paul of the NBA. And while they're more known for their performance insoles, the ones that you'd wear on the basketball court for example, they also sell this one right here, which is called their all-day insole, and this one is meant to be worn with everyday casual use sneakers. So in my experience wearing these are probably one of the most technologically advanced insoles that I've ever tried. There's so much going on with these insoles. For example, the majority of this insole itself, this is crafted using their recharged foam technology, which is what gives this insole its bounciness and responsiveness. And this black plate that you see here, this essentially is this large TPU shank plate, which really helps to cradle and support your foot. So absolutely my favorite thing about these Move insoles is that it really feels supported underfoot, especially underneath the arches of my feet. And there's other things, for example, like this active heel technology, which gives you that added level of impact protection in the areas that you need it most. So there's so much going on with these insoles, but don't take my word for it. I'll link their website, their social media, all that good stuff down below. So check them out, try a pair for yourself, and be sure to tell them that I sent you. So this right here is obviously something very different than what I normally review. These are the Adidas Adifom Superstar, which is a foam version of the classic Adidas Superstar. So I believe these actually debuted back in January of this year, but because Adidas is having their Black Friday sale, I picked up this cloud white colorway for 50% off, which I couldn't pass up on. There's just something about the design of this shoe that really caught my eye. I was just very curious to see how these were in real life. So these originally retailed for a price of 120 Canadian dollars or $90 down in the US. The official colorway for this shoe is cloud white and core white, and as you can tell, this is all constructed out of this one-piece foam upper. According to the adidas.com description, this foam is partially derived from sugarcane, and I believe 25% of the materials that went into making this shoe are made out of natural and sustainable materials. So like I mentioned, the entire body of this pair, this is crafted using this white colored foam material, but because it pays homage to the Adidas Superstar, it takes that classic shell toe of the Superstar, but it extends all the way through the upper of this pair. So you can see these vertical lines running down from the edge where the tongue would be all the way to the front toe box. And if you look real close, we have these small ridges all across, which gives it some texture, and it almost seems like it's been 3D printed. Found on the mid panel of both sides, of course, we have the signature Adidas 3 stripes. This is done in more of an off-white or a cream color. And when you look at the medial side, the only area where there's some ventilation on this pair are these two holes which are drilled out right in between the Adidas 3 stripes. So moving downwards, you can see we have more of that ribbed pattern, and it comes to a point right at the center of the heel. And then on the top of the heel, we have another cream or off-white colored hit with the Adidas trefoil logo in the center. So this is done in this one-piece finish, so there's not actually a separate tongue. So if you look from the sides, you can see the edges of the foam are actually pretty thick. And in person, this foam is pretty stiff. There's not really much give to it, which I'll talk about later on in detail about the comfort, but it definitely makes this pair a bit more uncomfortable than I thought it would be. So one of the positives is that these actually come with a removable insole, and this is an Ortholite branded foam insole, which is honestly pretty well padded. It's lined in this pale blue colored finish on top, and we have Adidas branding pressed onto the heel. And if you remove the insole, underneath you can see we have the exact same foam that comprises the entire body of this pair. So in terms of midsole, so in the case for this slide or clog or whatever you want to call it, the midsole is actually one and the same as the upper. They do try to separate it visually by allowing the midsole to sort of protrude outward a little bit, and basically you're stepping entirely on this thick wedge of foam. And then underneath, the outsole here is the exact same thing. There's no rubber here whatsoever. You're stepping entirely on the same foam material. So we have this herringbone style traction pattern, and then towards the heel, the pattern here is a bit more fine, which presumably is there to help prevent you from slipping. So for those wondering about how these fit, so my foot measures as a true size 10, slightly on the wider side. I got these a half size up in a size 10.5, and they still fit me kind of snug. Just how this pair is shaped, because you can see the heel kind of slopes forward, it kind of pushes your foot forward as well. So because of that, when I was walking in these, I felt like my toe was jamming right into the front, and that's already going up a half size. So I feel like for most people, you should go up half a size, but if you really like more of a roomy fit, I feel like you can even go a full size up. There's definitely no way I would have been comfortable sticking true to size, so at minimum, go a half size up from your actual measured foot size. In terms of the comfort of this pair, the underfoot feeling, I have to say, was actually pretty good. The mix of the ortholite insole and this thick foam midsole, there was actually a pretty good amount of softness and squishiness underfoot. That's not where the problem lied when it comes to the comfort of this pair. Like I mentioned earlier, this foam in itself is quite dense and firm, and it doesn't really flex and bend to your feet. So as you walk, just imagine your foot's here and you're bending forward. I could feel this front edge just repeatedly crashing into the front of my foot, and eventually it got to the point where it was quite irritating and quite uncomfortable. And as I mentioned earlier, because of the shape of the heel, my foot was being pushed forward, so I could feel my toes hitting the front edge as well. So I'm kind of curious to see how going up a full size would have fit me. I feel like the length of the shoe would have been fine for me, and maybe because it's more loose, it would have solved the issue of the top of my foot hitting this front edge of the tongue. But for anyone that's tried going up a full size, let me know in the comments down below your experience. So long story short, is it comfortable? In a sense it is, but it's just a very awkward feeling pair. It's just something you just really notice is on your feet. It's just so clunky and it's so stiff. So this isn't really a pair that I'd recommend for someone looking for a very comfortable slipper or clog or whatever you want to call it. So with all that out of the way now, let me toss these on feet. I'll lace them up for you and I'll show you guys how these look. So initially I was drawn to the simplicity and the humor behind this pair. To be fair, it's quite strange and funky looking, and getting these in hand, I was disappointed with the stiffness of the upper. I was expecting something a bit more bendable and something that would form to the shape of my foot a bit more. But instead, it's very noticeable that it's on foot to the point where it's borderline uncomfortable. So that to me was a big letdown. But everyone's feet is different. If you're someone that finds these to be comfortable, I think it's funny, but I still think it's kind of a dope pair. If you can rock this with sweatpants or just very wide-legged pants, I'm kind of feeling it, to be honest. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about this Adidas Adifom Superstar in this cloud white colorway? What are your overall thoughts on this pair? Is it too strange? Is it too what the F? Or are you appreciating the funkiness of this design and this would be a cop for you? As always, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. You can follow me on Instagram at esco8, follow my X or Twitter account at sean.go spelled out, and visit my website at seango.ca. So thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoy this review, and I'll catch you guys all in the next one.